Hey, this is Todd from One Shot API. In this video, we're going to talk about x402 payments. You may have seen some of our earlier videos on how you can monetize your N8N and make workflows using our verified gateway templates for those platforms. Now, One Shot API is a general purpose facilitator, so you can use it to monetize your API routes with whatever x402 compatible token you prefer on any of our supported EVM networks. This page here is our docs page with a lot of details on it. The link to this is in the YouTube description. You can check that out. But we're going to do this tutorial in this example that I have for you. The link to this is also in the YouTube description. Clone this mono repo. It's got a bunch of examples in it. And then cd into the TypeScript/x402 server folder. That's where we're going to work. So if we open that directory, there's a README. It's got a lot of good instructions in it. You can follow that. But I'm going to walk you through this step by step. If we open the index.ts file, this is where all of the interesting stuff happens. At the top, we import the One Shot API x402 Facilitator SDK. This is designed to work directly with the official Coinbase x402 SDKs. So if you're already using those, this will work with that without any additional configuration. And we're going to import the create facilitator config, and it takes a One Shot API key and secret. So let's start by opening a terminal and copy the env local example config. Let's copy it into .env. And if we open that, the first thing is we need an address to receive payments. So inside of our server example, that ends up being our pay to address. So if somebody hits your API route, that's where your payments are going. Be sure that's an address that you control. So let's do that. Paste it here, and then let's get our API key and secret. So go to the One Shot API portal, create a free account if you haven't already. Come to the API keys tab and create a new API key. And then let's input those credentials. Okay, save it when you're done and we can close this file. So in our server, we have two routes. We have a weather route that's going to return some dummy weather data. It's going to accept payment in USDC on the base Sepolia testnet. And then we have another configuration that's a wildcard. So any route downstream of premium is going to be gated by payment on the Polygon mainnet. And this one is set up to use USDC on Polygon mainnet. So this will show you how to both do a testnet payment and a mainnet payment with real money. So to accept those, we want USDC on Sepolia and we want USDC on Polygon. So back in One Shot API, first we need a server wallet to relay the transactions for our payments. We need one for Polygon network and we need one for base Sepolia network. So click the create new wallet, give it a name and a description, and provision a wallet on both Polygon. Do one for Polygon, and then do one for base Sepolia. And then be sure that for both of those wallets, you have a little bit of funds to pay for the gas. So in One Shot API, we don't charge per transaction that you process. You supply your own gas as much as is relevant for your application. So you can process as many payments as you want. I've already got those two wallets. And now we need to import the methods for the tokens that we want to support. We don't want to support every token. We only want to support tokens that we want as payments. So let's come to One Shot prompts. First, let's filter on base Sepolia. You can see here, this is the USDC base Sepolia contract. If we click into that, we want to import the transfer with authorization function that takes a VR and an S. So let's add that to my contracts. And if we come back to prompts and filter on Polygon, here's USDC on Polygon. Let's also import transfer with authorization for that contract. Now if we come to my smart contracts up here, you can see we have that transfer with authorization function imported for both of those tokens. So now our facilitator and our organization knows that these are the tokens that we want to support. So we can come back now to our GitHub repo. We have our configuration set. Let's start by installing our dependencies with pnpm install. And then we can run the server with pnpm dev. This should start the server on port 4021. And the easiest way I've found to hit these endpoints is using curl. And inside the README, there's some example curl commands you can just copy and paste. Let's try the weather route. You can see here's the payment details that it returned to us. We didn't give it an X payment header, so this is querying the price details. And you can see this one is set up for base Sepolia, and that's the asset that we need to pay in, and that's exactly the asset that we just imported into our One-Shot API account. So now we need to create a payment header, and to do that you can go to oneshotapi.com and click on the Tools tab. I'll also have this link in the YouTube description. Let's make sure that chain selector is on base Sepolia, and we need the token address. So that's our token address right here. For the amount to pay, at least the max amount. And then the to address, be sure that that to address is the pay to address you configured, or this will not verify. And let's give ourselves a little extra time and hit create payment header. This will generate a signature, and then you can copy this payment header right here. So if you scroll down just a little bit, here's another example curl command. Just replace that payment header dummy variable with your token. Again, this is for the weather route. So we can copy this, paste this into our terminal. And there you see it returned our weather data. If we come back to One-Shot API and go to the transaction history tab, this is our x402 payment. And what we do for you for convenience is in the memo field of the transaction, we put the details of the payment that was run in your organization's account. And this is nice. From our API, you can actually search in your transaction history on the memo field. So if there's a specific transaction you want to look up, you can search on the different things that are stored in this memo field, which makes it easy to go back and look at your payment history from your organization. So that was a test net. Let's do one for a mainnet in my wallet. If I click on the Polygon network, I have a little bit of USDC. Let's try to pay with that on mainnet. So back in our header generator tool, we need the asset address for Polygon. So I'll just run this on premium content. This is our asset address. Copy that. Paste that in the token address field. The pay to address is the same, but be sure you have the network selector toggled to Polygon. Create a new payment header. Copy that. And then in the second example here, this one's set up for our premium content route. Replace that dummy header with a real one. Let's try to run this. And there you see premium content is served. Again, if we go back to the transaction history tab, refresh it, here's our Polygon payment with mainnet USDC. Again, the memo contains all of the payment details which you can search on. And if we look at the transaction hash, Polygon is great for payments. Transactions are incredibly cheap. This one was 7/10,000th of a penny. So you can process a lot of payments for a very small amount of money. And the great thing about One-Shot API is it's a drop-in replacement in any existing code you might be using with the official x402 SDKs. And any x402 compatible token that you want to accept on any of our networks will work out of the box. A great way to search for x402 tokens is to come to the prompts directory, and on the category, filter on x402. And this will show you all the different tokens that we've categorized so far that will work with x402 payments, including PayPal's PYUSD, MetaMask USD. All of these will work with One-Shot API in your API routes. So thanks for watching. If you have questions, hit up the team in Telegram and watch out for videos coming from us soon. Thanks, everyone.